All right, so I have a good question here on weightlifting shoes and what are they, should they get them, and what type should they get? Good question, and I'm definitely a proponent of the weightlifting shoes and for Olympic weightlifting shoes, and I worn mine for probably 17 years now, and I can't imagine training without them. And what they do is they have a slightly elevated heel, and it's typically a wooden rigid heel, to give you better stability and range of motion in the bottom of a squat sort of motion there. And if you plan to do snatch and clean and jerk and training Olympic lifts, it is there's no gray area here. You have to get them. It's a necessity. Otherwise, you know, especially if you're inflexible at all whatsoever, you really want them for stability and really mobility and stability in the bottom of the Olympic lift for the snatch and clean. So you have a better, stronger bottom position in the receiving position. You're going to get lower, better, faster, and stronger. So that's the main thing there. They elevate your heels so you are able to sit more upright in the bottom of that snatch and not be leaning forward or collapsing, and the clean not collapsing forward, and have the ability to go through a full range of motion there. So if you have wooden heels, that also allows you to put better force into the floor. So as you're pulling off the ground, a lot of people tend to go into the ball of their foot and toe. It allows you to drive through the heels better and put more strength into the floor and drive through the floor and develop power and force to go through the hips into the barbell. So you have a better, stronger pull, and you have a better, stronger receiving position. So, and on top of that, in the sport of weightlifting, everyone wears shoes in competition unless you are just a very brand new beginner with this, and it's something you'll eventually want to do for sure. Their barefooted thing and those Vibram types of shoes, 5-finger shoes, I highly discourage that. You're going to have less stability. You're going to deal with more pain and perhaps bruising of the feet, things like that, how aggressive you are with the weight, and you're going to sure, it's got its benefits, but I would put that in other elements of, say, your CrossFit training or running or things like that. When it comes to stability and strength training, I highly recommend these shoes for safety and performance at the end of the day. And your end result with the lift is going to be much better, ultimately. So you're going to be require more ankle flexibility and mobility with those other shoes that won't provide you for the range of motion requirements in the full squat there. So it's going to end up posteriorly tilting your hips back and opening up your vertebrae in the backside, and you're going to be missing lifts because you're leaning forward, but you're going to be at risk for injury and danger there. So I can't recommend those at all. Now, definitely they're important. Anyone serious in Olympic lifts will need to invest in them. And it just depends on how often you're going to train and what your ultimate goal is, but there's a wide range of prices of these shoes that you should consider, and they're everywhere from like $60 or so upwards of $200, and it just depends on how serious you are and what kind of purpose you might have. Now, the $60 shoes are Adidas sort of hybrid shoes that are meant for just general weightlifting and Olympic lifting, but also can be ran in a bit as well. They're a little bit more flexible and they have more of a rubber heel, and they're not as high in the heel, so they're a little bit more comfortable for other activities, and they're more versatile. And those are about $60. Search Adidas, I think it's called Power Trainer shoes online, and there's so much competition out there. If you do a simple search online, you're going to find the best deal pretty quick. Anything from eBay to Amazon, things like that, you're going to find all kinds of great deals. So Rogue Fitness, Penlay.com, Elite Fitness, I believe it is, Butch Arniga's website. It's got a lot of shoes on there. But you'll run into all these sites. It won't take you long to find the best deal for each type of shoe. So those are the Adidas shoes. They come in various colors when you look for them. The first Adidas shoes, at least. They come in all kinds of colors. You'll see white ones that have red and black colors on there as well, but they've come out with more and more colors. But the real expensive Adidas shoes that most really serious weightlifters get are the orangish, reddish looking ones, and those are about $150 to $200. And those are great lifting shoes that, like I said, a lot of advanced lifters get. They're more stable and higher the heel than those other shoes, and they're really more intended for weightlifting. Now, the benefit of these compared to other weightlifting shoes, like the older Adidas shoes and, say, the new Nike shoes, the thing about them is that they're a little bit more flexible and mobile to the foot compared to their main competitor, which is the new Nike shoe, the Romaleo shoe. And those are very rigid, kind of like work boots, and they're real stable and stiff. And some people like that feel of the Nike shoes, and some people hate it. So it just depends on what you like. I think the Adidas shoes are nice middle of the road because they do give you that stability and heel height, but they fit the foot more comfortably. So if it's your first pair of shoes, you might start with that because it might be more comfortable on your foot if you've never worn a weightlifting shoe. But I gotta say, I've got both pairs, and I like the Nike shoe a lot too because it's very stable, but it doesn't allow very much give in the foot. And I actually even injured my knee wearing those shoes the first day I ever wore them because I had an old pair of really worn out Adidas shoes that were stiff, but I broke them in and wore them for so long that they became very loose, and the wear pattern in the foot was very altered. So when I wore those Nike shoes, they were so stable, my tibia and femur didn't rotate too well as they should have in the squat, and my tibia stayed firm and my knee rotated out and it tore my meniscus. So just a matter of circumstances there, but I still wore those Nike shoes and I still like them, just a matter of breaking them in properly, and I was so conditioned with so much weight with the other shoes, it just led to a bad scenario. But you got to get the weightlifting shoes for sure. I've got both shoes and I go back and forth with them. I like the Adidas and I like the Nike, and when I find that I'm really stiff, I actually like the Adidas shoes better. When I'm fresh and recovered, I like the Nike ones better. So I tend to keep to one for several periods of time. But those shoes are both about $150 to $200. There's other in-between shoes that are closer to $100, so more of an economic deal would be something like the Pendlay shoe. That's Pendlay. Just go to pendlay.com. And those are a lot like, they're sort of an in-between actually. They're pretty flexible of a shoe, but probably not as much as the Adidas shoe. They're more rigid. They're in the middle of the rigidity between the Nike and the Adidas shoe, and they have a good wooden heel. And they're just a tad cheaper, closer to around $100, I believe. And those are, I've seen a lot of people really like those, and they're a good starter shoe for many people, and haven't had many complaints on those as well. So if you want to save some money, that's a good option. You've got Risto shoes as well. Those are more of a leather shoe, I believe, and they've got a pretty high wooden heel. And the ranges, I think, on those are between about $80 and $120 or so as well. So you can check Risto Sports for that. They've got a lot of unique colors and looks. So if you want a sort of a fashion thing with whatever your attire is, that's fine. You might check those out. So the main shoes we're looking at here again, on the expensive high end would be the orangest Nike shoes. The black, and there's other colors nowadays of the Nike Romaleo shoes are the best shoes you can get. The Nike shoes are the stable, rigid ones. The Adidas shoes are a bit more flexible and pliable. Then down from there, you've got the Risto shoes and the Pendlay shoes, around $100 or so. And the Pendlay shoes are probably closer to like the Adidas shoe perhaps, and then the Risto shoes seem a bit more like the Romaleo shoe, and they look a bit more sturdy perhaps. The leather might be a little bit more flexible though. You just got to look at them and see if you like those and try those on. Some of these companies might have return policies on them if you don't like them or if they don't fit well. Don't train in the shoe yet. Just try it on and see how it feels first before you decide, so that way they'll still return the shoe. I've had trouble with that in the past. Down from there, the cheapest would be those Adidas Ironworks shoe, I believe they're called. They're about $60. So there's many options there. Just find which is comfortable and see what you like. Maybe buy a couple pairs, but leave me feedback on what you like and help each other out, and maybe give some other solutions and feedback there. All kinds of different colors of shoes out there, and one thing I've always done is buy about a half size small on the shoe compared to my tennis shoe, because you want to have the shoe very tight. You don't want any looseness in the shoe, and it will break in. As you train with them, they're going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but they'll stretch out with your foot in time and fit to your foot much better. So you just don't want any looseness in your foot sliding around at all inside of that shoe. I also have orthotics inside of my shoe, so I did have to get a slightly bigger size this last time around to fit the orthotic in there, and it fits my foot the best, and it gives me the best stability in the bottom for my lifts basically. So I highly recommend this shoe if you're going to be serious about weightlifting. It's better for safety and performance. It gives you good stability in ankle and foot in the bottom of that squat, which is going to affect everything in the body, from the proper hip position, the proper spine position, and everything. So give it a try and you'll be very happy. I will never go without my weightlifting shoes in the gym.